On Thursday morning, July 4th, 2013, I awoke early, went downstairs, let the dog out, started my cup of tea, and I went outside and I got the newspaper. Took the cup of tea over to the kitchen table, opened the newspaper, and what did I see? Page A7 of the Longmont Times Call. Isn't this a lovely thought? Celebrate our godless Constitution. So I read it, and the one thing about George Washington, on the bottom here it says, our first U.S. president refused to take communion, kneel in prayer in churches or at Valley Forge, have a priest at his deathbed, or take last rites. And my thought was, I didn't know he was Catholic. So rather than continue and get angry, I put the paper down and I went out for a walk. I put in my iPod, and as I'm walking down the street, a song came on that was most appropriate for this ad. Billy Joel, Honesty. The lyrics are, honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. Honesty is hardly ever heard, and mostly what I need from you. So then I went back and I looked at this again and I thought, honesty, well, this ad must be honest. They wouldn't print it if it wasn't honest, correct? Besides, look at this. In reason we trust. Well, I decided in research I trust. So, not being able to take anything for granted, I went and looked up all the quotes that they attributed to our forefathers. What do you think I found out? Not only were they half true, not only were they out of context, they had nothing to do with the Constitution, and it didn't prove that any of them were agnostic or atheist in any way, shape, or manner. The first gentleman here is Thomas Paine, and they have a quote from his Age of Reason pamphlet. Yes, he did write it. He also was sitting in jail over in France and was on an anti-church crusade at the time. But in the very beginning of that pamphlet, he wrote, I believe in one God and no more, and I hope for happiness beyond this life. The second gentleman listed here is Ben Franklin. Poor Ben. They've been after Ben to be an atheist since his writings have been examined by mankind. In his own autobiography, he states, and I quote, I never doubted, for instance, the existence of the deity. Then we had poor Catholic George Washington, who I thought John F. Kennedy was the first Catholic, but we let that go. Then we have down here John Adams. There's a quote that is from the signed Treaty of Tripoli in 1797. This quote was in the treaty after it was signed over in Tripoli. Originally it was in Arabic. This quote didn't exist. This quote says, the government of the United States is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. Only when it was transformed into English, Article 11, was this put in. It was in English, it was ratified by John Adams and the United States Senate, but one interpretation of that for their signing is the fact that they made it clear that the pact was between two sovereign states and not between two religious powers, being Christians and Muslims. We have Thomas Jefferson here. Well, Thomas Jefferson, there's a quote in here about question with boldness the existence of God. He did say that, but he said it in a letter that he addressed to his nephew, who was coming of age. And he said to him, this is section 4 of the letter. Out of this one, there's 2 pages that I printed out. Imagine how much it was handwritten. Out of all of this, they found this one quote. What did he tell his nephew? You're coming of the age of reason. Think for yourself. Read the Bible. Make your own determination. Don't be a sheeple. Then we have Mr. James Madison, founder of the United States Constitution. His quote in this statement opposes a bill establishing a provision for the teachers of the Christian religion. This is his bill. 4 pages later, and they found this one quote to make an example. Our godless Constitution, it says it right here. What is the definition of godless? It is not acknowledging a deity or divine law. The American Republic's meaning and proper method of operation are found in two documents, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Honesty. God is not mentioned in the Constitution, but he's mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. As the maker of laws equal to the legislature, as the creator equal to the founder, the supreme judge equal to the judicial branch, and divine providence the executive branch. The principles of the Declaration of Independence describe a way of living. The principles need the articles in the Constitution. John Adams said, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other." Honesty. The freedom from religious foundation itself lists itself as a nonprofit educational organization. In this ad, their truthfulness, sincerity, and fairness are hardly ever heard. Thank you.